Dear Diary, it's now day 54 of this sideways movement in Bitcoin. And every day we have to make amazing content. And even though every YouTuber in the world has made a thumbnail about how the volatility is coming to Bitcoin, Bitcoin doesn't care. And in fact, if I look at the volatility on Bitcoin, it's now at a 5-year low. And no one cares about crypto anymore. That's pretty much where we are. We're at volatility that hasn't been there for 5 years. And the sentiment is that no one cares about crypto anymore. But there are altcoins that are actually moving. And if you want to look at these altcoins, it's mainly altcoins that we've actually spoken about on the show. So let's look at the altcoins that are actually moving. Number one, you've got Flex. If you look at where Flex was 30 days ago, $3.39. If you look at where Flex coin is today, $6.15, almost 100% in this kind of environment. Unibot, if you take it where it was a month ago, so more or less, it was at $50. Today, trading at $171. So there was a 3x over there. Then you got RUNE, which has been at about 80 cents and now had a breakout. I'm going to talk a lot about RUNE today because maybe this thing can go. Because you know, the thing with RUNE is, or ThorChain, or whatever, however you prefer calling it. If you look here, it has been at $21 and it came back here and a lot of people lost faith in RUNE, but now it's back up at 137. And maybe there's a long way up. We'll actually talk about what RUNE is, how it works, and why it's actually moving. Another one that's moved up pretty well, SHIBA. SHIBA's up 74% since its low in June. And I'm glad to say that a lot of these tokens we actually spoke about here on our show. So if you have been paying attention in this market, in this boring sideways market that everybody is dying about, well, you would have got a lot of these 3x's. And I think what this goes to show is that the market doesn't care. Doesn't care about your biases. Actually 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕 said it perfectly. Very smart, Miles. He says, you know, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗕 is hated for being a gambling Ponzi coin. It's up 217% in 2 weeks. Unibot, hated for being too centralized, up 183% in 3 weeks. OpenX, hated for being Kyle and Suzu's coin, up 107x in 2 weeks. And he's right. The market doesn't care about your biases. The market will do whatever the market has to do. So the only way to stay alive in this market is actually to look at the data. And if we look at the data, what we can see, HBAR is up today, Render is up, Frax is up, Ape is up. If we look at this week, we can see that RUNE is up 45%. That's why we're going to spend a lot of time talking about RUNE. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗧 we have spoken about, so we're not going to speak about it today. HBAR up 16.12%. We're going to talk about that today. SHIB, we're going to talk about SHIB today. Telegram or TON, not talking about that today. We're also going to talk about Ape. Have I already said Ape? I may have said Ape. Okay, so that's what today is about. There are altcoins that are running. I know it feels a little bit boring. If you want to know what's running, you need to understand the formula. You need to understand the narratives. And there is money to be made in this market. And if there's money to be made, well, we are going to make money in this market. Now, I know that everyone's feeling a little bit down. Is there a way that we can play the "Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go" song, or is that like not on our thing anymore? Is it gone now, James? Have you removed it?
It can be brought back.
Can you bring it back now?
No.
Okay, well, we'll bring it back for you tomorrow. All right, so let's go. Let's start today's thing. Let's start today's show with a prayer that the market will actually start moving. All right, well, as you can see, nothing is going to move this market. Nothing is going to move Bitcoin off this 29,300 level. You know what I thought? I thought that when the ETF decision would come out, whether it's a yes or a no, like if it was a yes, obviously the market would run. If it was a no, I thought, okay, like some assholes would actually sell their Bitcoin because they were expecting a yes. No one was expecting a yes. Like not even that could move the market. That's where we're at. And you got two options while this is happening. One is you can tap out. The problem is if you tap out, it's going to be very tough for you to come back into crypto. Or you can actually dig deeper, find better narratives. And that's what we've actually done here before. If you look at the narratives that have come out here, that have actually run. Unibot, we told you about Unibot at less than $50. Flex, we told you about Flex at, I think, 36 cents. Today, it's been as high as $7. We told you about 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 at 2 cents or 3 cents. We told you about ThorChain 2 weeks ago when it was at 80 cents. We called it here on the show. So it's a case of, you know, if you're willing to do the hard work, yes, it's not as much fun, but the bull market will come back. And when the bull market comes back, if you're up to date and you know what's going on, you will make life-changing money. In the interim, what you have to be is if you want to make money, you have to be a cold-hearted, unemotional trader. That's the only way to make money. And that's actually exactly what I'm doing in the ByBit trading competition. So I've become a cold, look at me. I have become a cold, heartless trader. James here in the corner saying person. James. James was saying, you've been a cold, heartless person for how long already? How long have you said I'm a cold, heartless person for, James?
Since the 80s,
James says, in my next life, I'm going to come back as an employee, as opposed to as a boss. And that'll be like the punishment for what I do to him. Poor guy. Anyway, so I have, as you can see, I have become a cold, heartless trader, but it's paying dividends. So that's what I'm doing in the ByBit trading competition now. You see, I'm number 27 in our squad. My ROI is 53.56%. The reason why I think I am where I am is because I actually have become cold and heartless. So I've been using this RSI tool. The RSI tool, without any kind of bias, tells me whether tokens are overbought and oversold. And I've been buying the ones that are oversold, and I've been selling the ones that are overbought. So if you look at my portfolio now, you can't call this a portfolio because it's hardly a portfolio. I'm long on GMX, and I think I'm going to hold that long. I'm also short on RUNE, but I'm going to close at some point because I do think RUNE's going to continue to go up. And I'm short HBAR because I think that there is news, but I don't think this news is worthy of driving this token up. And you got to be cold and you got to be heartless, regardless of what kind of emotions you have towards the token. I did say to you guys that every transaction that I make in the ByBit trading competition, I will update you on. I am updating you. The updates are going into our Discord. Now, look, I know some of you can't use Discord because I'm one of those people. I find it really, really, really hard to use Discord. So we're going to start posting the same updates in the Telegram. For those of you who have missed the Discord updates, here they are. So this was an update that I did. I'm sure I did one at my house the other day. Yeah, this one I did at home. Morning. It's an unbelievable day here in Cape Town, as you can see. Standing on the balcony at home. My GMX position from yesterday is in the money now, so here it is. It's up, as you can see, 15%, which brings my account up to about 35%. I'm going to keep this position open. I'm going to keep adding to it because I think that the seller who was in the market is now out the market. The other positions so I've been posting those. I posted another one this morning. If you look at Banter Bubbles, morning legends. Here we are at the meme coins Banter offices. You can see I posted one this morning. Shaldino is preparing for his show. Shaldino, how are you doing in the trading competition, bro?
I got stopped last night, but I'm on it.
You got stopped last night, man. That's one soldier down. For those of you who haven't been to the Banter offices before, this is where it's at. Anyway, and then I took everyone through my position. So if you want those updates, they are in the Discord. You can sign up for the Discord below. We will also start popping them into our Telegram. There's a link to our Telegram below if you want the updates. I mean, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this together. We're going to have fun together. Also, it's very hard to make a lot of content in this time. So what we decided to do is we're going to carry on building. So tomorrow, you're going to see a brand new feature in Banter Bubbles. Tomorrow, when you go to Banter Bubbles and you click here, you're going to see a button that says Newsroom Call. And that call is going to get you into our morning content call, but it's only going to let 500 people in every single morning. And that's where we stream the call where all our researchers talk about what's going to be on the call today. So if you haven't already got Banter Bubbles, download the app and then go to that thing tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning it'll be at it's 9:15 a.m. South African time, which means that it is in EST. It's 3:15 a.m. 3:15 a.m. EST. If you want that. All right, let's get into the alpha of the show today. Quick look at the bubbles before we get into alpha. In the last hour, Rollbit's a bit down. Not much is happening, so I think we should avoid talking about how fast the price is moving. And move our attention to the ETF talk. So last week, I guess no one actually thought the ETF was going to get approved, except like 3 people. The ETF obviously wasn't approved, delayed by the SEC, exactly what we thought would happen. And now what the SEC is doing is the SEC is asking for comment, which is, again, it's all part of the process. Nothing in this process is new or different. It's a very, very, very standard delay letter where they're just going to start asking for comments. And remember, they've got about 240 days, which takes us all the way to the halving next year to approve or deny the ETF. And I don't see any incentive in the world for the ETF to get approved, to get approved quicker than they need to. The SEC will act kind of like by the letter of the law. You know what I mean? That's basically what they'll do. They're not going to expedite a Bitcoin ETF. They're going to use it because in the background, what you don't know is actually happening. There's a lot of negotiations going on. I don't know with who, but there's a lot of negotiations going on, and palms are getting greased, and you know how it works. Come on, you didn't think that this whole thing was this video is going to get taken off YouTube again. Anyway, look, I think it's a when, not if the ETF gets approved. There's 1,000,001 reasons why they now have to approve this ETF. One is, of course, that it's BlackRock, and I think, as I said, there's a hierarchy in the world. BlackRock is above the SEC and above Gary Gensler and that stuff. And so I think that he has to approve it. Also, how do you approve a Bitcoin futures ETF when you know that the Bitcoin futures ETF will always lag? This time it's lagging by about 6%, it's lagging spot. So you approve a Bitcoin futures ETF knowing that investors are going to lose 6% to the underlying Bitcoin, and then you approve a 2 times leverage, which I think you would have lost maybe double that. But then you don't approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, that's not protecting investors. So that's one reason why they're going to have to do it. The other reason why they're going to have to do it is because if you look at every single ETF, every single one of the top performing equity ETFs this year is crypto related. Every single one of them. And I checked this. Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF, Van Eck Digital Transformation ETF, Global and BlackRock and Blockchain ETF, Bitwise Crypto Industry Innovators. These are the top 15 ETFs. Every single one of them is related to Bitcoin and to crypto in some shape or form. So with that information, how does the SEC still come out and say, look, there's a whole industry that's built around this technology called blockchain, and we're not approving the number one blockchain, the one that is definitely decentralized, the one that is definitely not a security. That's the one we're not approving an ETF of. So I don't know how the SEC can continue to justify it. When they do it, there will be a lot of money flowing into the assets. And why do I say that is because if you look at the percentage of the world ETF that North America has is 97.67%. 97.67% of ETF volume comes from the United States or from North America. And I guess, there's about $10 trillion under in these ETFs. So I think that a lot of money is going to start flowing into the ETF when the ETF comes through. So next relevant date is 3 weeks from now? When is the BlackRock original? Okay, let's have a look here. Next date. September 2nd, September 3rd. 22nd, 9th to 9th. So 2nd of September is the next approval date for all of these ETFs. We keep our eyes open. I don't think it's happening. It's not happening until the halving next year. But if it does happen, we will talk about it. That's for sure. James is saying, I forgot to welcome everybody. So for those of you who are new, subscribe to the channel. For those of you who have been here a while, just give us a like. If you appreciate this content coming to you every single day, even in the most boring of times, just smash the like button and just tell us that we did. The Plague Frog says, Banter Bubbles is the best. The Plague Frog has a point. There's a lot of stuff coming to Banter Bubbles. There is a full newsroom functionality coming into Banter Bubbles. There is the call coming into Banter Bubbles. We're trying to work on something else for you guys in terms of buy signals and sell signals in the Banter Bubbles. So go and subscribe or go and download it or just go to it. Okay, let's talk about altcoins, because I think that's why we're all here, because we're all a bunch of degens. There are altcoins which are moving, as I said. So maybe Bitcoin isn't moving, but there are altcoins that are moving. And if you can catch those altcoins that are moving, there is actually money to be made. Let's just take the last week. In the last week, you could have made 45% on RUNE, 40% on Rollbit, 14% on SHIB, 16.6% on HBAR, 21% on PEPE. By the way, Fred actually got that PEPE trade. Crazy. Should I dox Fred? Should I dox him? He'll be bummed if I dox him. Let me know in the comments if I should dox Fred, because I can dox him. I can dox him. Someone says here, Banter Bubbles is blocked by their company. We should call the company. If you just DM us, send us your company's details, we'll write you a doctor's prescription as to why you need the bubbles. We can get, my brother's a doctor, he can write a script. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at some of the altcoins. Let's start off with the altcoin that is actually launching tomorrow, which may be a trading opportunity in the trading competition, and actually just a trading opportunity. So the altcoin that is launching tomorrow is called SEI, S-E-I. It's not SUI. SEI is different from SUI. SUI is S-U-I. SEI is S-E-I. SEI is launching on the Binance Launchpad. What SEI is, it is a layer 1 blockchain, which is built using Cosmos, using the Cosmos SDK. And it is optimized specifically for trading. So if you think about this, and I'm really keeping it very simple here. You've got some of the biggest investors in the space, Multicoin, Coinbase, Jump, Delphi. All of these guys have invested in it because they think that this can be a very, very, very fast blockchain, which can help in adoption. It says the fastest blockchain in the industry unlocked by twin turbo consensus. You get that, twin turbo consensus, all with low transaction costs because it's built on Cosmos, etc. User-centric, security first. So they've done this. They reckon that they can do 20,000 transactions per second. That's quite a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of transactions. It's one of these big launches which is being launched on multiple exchanges at the same time. So I think I have a list of the exchanges for you guys. It's already got quite a big ecosystem. Check this out. Quite a big ecosystem. Now, it is launching. You see, even the Koreans are launching it with a 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. What does that mean? Koreans are going to be aping SEI tomorrow. We know this. What do we do when people are going to ape? We sell. So the reason why I'm telling you about SEI, I don't think there's going to be a buying opportunity tomorrow. There's going to be a shorting opportunity tomorrow. If you have a friend or you know someone who's getting ready to buy SEI on the open market, okay, tell them they have to watch the show and not buy it. Why? Because this is one of those very, very, very hyped token raises. There was a raise done. The raise was done at about the last raise was done at about an $800 million fully diluted valuation, right? So you've got SEI launching tomorrow. Lots of exchanges actually listing it. Binance, all the Korean exchanges, KuCoin, all the exchanges are listing at the same time. Okay, it's one of those Binance Launchpad launches. Now, let's talk about the price of this token. And I've got this. It comes from a guy called 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗓. If you're not already following 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗕𝗓, you should be following him. You know why? He's actually a researcher that works at Banter. So there are a billion tokens, or 100 billion or whatever tokens for SEI. And the question is, what valuation are these tokens going to list at? And what is a fair valuation for this? He's saying that it's coming on at about a 35 cent price, which is a 3.5 billion fully diluted valuation. Now, you got to ask yourself a question. At 3.5 billion, are you a buyer or are you a seller or are you doing nothing when it comes to this? Okay. Now, remember that there's a whole lot of people who are getting tokens. There's an airdrop that's coming out. There's people that are farming this token. I see some people here in the chat. Fenwin says, I am farming SEI right now. So the question is, when do we buy this thing and when do we sell this thing? I started looking at the futures on this thing, the derivatives. Here they are, trading at 9.9. Okay, now this is on BitMEX. So it's not really that accurate. Let's see what, I think it's most recent at the top, right? Most recent at the top. 75 cents. 75 cents gives it a fully diluted valuation of $7.5 billion. $7.5 billion makes it as valuable as Aptos and SUI. It would also make this thing the most, let's go here to categories. Okay, let's go to categories. Let's go to Cosmos. So let's go to Cosmos. Okay, so here we go, Cosmos ecosystem. If I look at the Cosmos ecosystem and I rank it by market cap, and I say, okay, this is the Cosmos Hub. This Cosmos Hub doesn't have a fully diluted valuation, but Injective has a fully diluted valuation of 761 million. That would be 7.6 cents if it was the equivalent. You look at Osmosis, which is probably, you could say similar project, not really a similar project, but you know what I'm saying. Fully diluted valuation, $500 million. So if it comes out at 35 cents, it becomes automatically the most valuable Cosmos project. Okay, if it comes out at 75 cents, it is more valuable than Aptos, more valuable than SUI. Now you got to ask yourself, what is your play tomorrow? I can tell you what my play is. Anything above 60, 70 cents, I'm going short because I know that there's going to be a whole lot of hype and eventually the hype will die. Anything below like 3, 4 cents, but it'll never come out at that price, I'm buying. Okay, so that is my strategy, and hopefully you can come up with your own strategy tomorrow. The other altcoin, the next altcoin which is running today, as per the Banter bubbles, is HBAR. So why is HBAR running? And it actually has been on quite a tear actually. So if we go to HBAR, let's quickly go here and we can look at HBAR USDT. Look at the perpetuals. Okay, look at the move. That, I mean, this is a perfect formation. Actually, I'm a bit of an idiot to be short this formation, but you can see like it's a bloody straight trend line. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. What's going to happen now? Whoopsie, down to touch the trend line. That's when I'm going to exit my short position. So why is HBAR running? HBAR, for those of you who don't know, it's like a layer 1 DAG protocol. It's basically, think about it as a very fast layer 1 blockchain. Similar technology to Phantom actually. It surged 15%. Why? Because there is a application on HBAR, which is called Drop, and that application has been, well, I want to use the right word, enabled support for Drop. The Fed now, the payment system is enabled support for Drop, a micro payment platform on HBAR network. Drop is a payments platform based on Hedera that allows merchants to get paid in digital assets, including HBAR, USDC, and USD. Merchants can earn and keep their income on the platform while consumers only pay per use without having to share their information. So this is being added to the FedNow system. I'm kind of skeptical of these arguments and of these announcements. And when you get these announcements, usually the token price pumps and the token price goes down. So that's why I've actually gone a little bit of a short. Okay, the next one which is running is much more worth spending time on. And I want to spend a lot of time actually on ThorChain and on RUNE because I think that this one actually might have more legs. If I zoom out, and I'm going to go to the daily chart just because it makes it a lot easier to see the breakout. But if you look at this breakout, you see that this has actually been in a trend. You can pretty much say even since May 2022, it's been in this downward trend. It hit a low of about 77 cents. And yesterday, it broke through this trend line over here at about $1.30. And you need to ask yourself, what is this? Why? Because this is a token that actually used to trade at about $20. So look, I mean, $21 in the peak of the bull market. What is ThorChain? What is RUNE? Simply put, RUNE is a cross-chain protocol that is completely decentralized. So if you want to swap Bitcoin for Ethereum, Ethereum for Bitcoin, and multiple other tokens across chain, you can use ThorChain. It is completely decentralized. It doesn't use bridges like normal other bridging, like the other bridging technologies, the ones that usually get hacked. And they have been heads down and they have been building throughout the bear market, and they've got a very, very, very strong community, which you'll see will come out now that the price is actually going up. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is in order to run this protocol, you need to lock up a certain amount of ThorChain or RUNE tokens with your Bitcoin and your ETH token. So in other words, if you're running a Bitcoin pool and an ETH pool, you need to lock up 2 times the number of RUNE because that's the ratio that you need to lock up. And that's why when people think that this protocol is going to get used, the price of RUNE goes up quite a lot because as the TVL goes up, the value of as the TVL of the native assets goes up, the Bitcoin locked up on RUNE and the Ethereum locked up on RUNE, you have to lock up 2 times the amount of RUNE, which takes the RUNE tokens out of the market, right? So it says, every pool is paired 50-50 with RUNE. This means that there's $50 million worth non-RUNE and $50 million worth of RUNE in the system. I thought it was 2-to-1, but maybe that's just for the lending project. At this point, we need to briefly talk about the nodes that secure the network. For every $1 of non-RUNE in the pools, the nodes must bond $2 worth of RUNE. So that's how it works. Essentially, how this protocol works is it works in pools, and every pool needs to have 2 times the value of the native asset in RUNE tokens. And that's why when people think that this token has utility and people are going to start using the platform and it's going to get TVL, then the price of RUNE goes up and actually goes up pretty quickly. So I want to show you what these guys have built. So remember what it is. It's a cross-chain protocol, which allows you to, example, swap 100 ETH into Bitcoin native. So not wrapped, but actually you can swap your ETH into Bitcoin live here instead of using a bridge. Now, one of the things that they developed is what they called price optimized swaps. Okay, what's a price optimized swap? It is a swap that is not optimized to execute quickly, but is optimized to execute slowly, but get you a better return. So I'm going to try and make this bigger because I know a lot of you guys are using mobile phones. But if you, for example, look at this, you say, okay, if I were to swap 100 ETH and I used the price optimized option, I would get 6.2 Bitcoin. But if I use the time optimized option, in other words, the quickest swap, then I'd only get 5.96 Bitcoin. So I get more Bitcoin by using the price optimized swap. Okay, why is that so important? Because again, you're not swapping, you're swapping, what's the right word? Like you're swapping ETH for Bitcoin cross-chain, and now they've given you this price optimized swap, which allows you to swap these tokens to get the most return in swapping these tokens. That's one of the things that, hold on, let me just change my view. So that's one of the things that this team have actually built. And if you want to see this execution, it's on an exchange called ThorSwap. ThorSwap is an exchange which is built on ThorChain, and ThorChain is a cross-chain protocol, a chain which allows you to swap, a protocol which allows you to swap tokens across different chains, which is one of the biggest use cases actually in crypto. Now, this execution which I've just showed you is on ThorSwap. And what most people don't know is that when ThorChain runs, immediately you've got to go and look at the price of ThorSwap. So look at the price of ThorSwap in the last, it did nothing, 8 cents, 8 cents, 9 cents. And then since the 8th of August, in the last week, it's actually doubled. No, it's actually 4x'd. So it's nearly 5x'd. Again, if you know where to look, there's lots of returns to be made. So why? Because again, you can see the cross-chain protocol application is actually, they're starting to come up with a lot of cross-chain protocol applications. I'll give you another thing which they've launched, which is very, 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 very interesting. Lending. Decentralized lending, 0 interest, no expiry, no liquidation, no KYC, fully decentralized. Okay, this is true. I verified it. I went and checked the maths. I went and checked the documents behind it. Here's how it works. Essentially, you can lock up your Bitcoin. You can lend against your Bitcoin. You can lend interest-free with no time constraint because it's interest-free. No liquidations. There is no liquidation here. No KYC and fully decentralized. Okay, now this is true. I've checked it. So imagine that you've got you got 2 Bitcoin. You got $50,000 in Bitcoin. You can now borrow. I think in this case you can borrow 50% of it on ThorChain, and so they say no. Who's ready? No interest, no expiry, no liquidations. That's how it works. Deposit 1 Bitcoin worth 27,000, withdraw 13,500 in USDT, never get liquidated, never pay interest, never have to pay it back unless you want to. Collateralization rate is actually set by the market. They're only doing it for the blue chips. So I think it's only like Bitcoin, ETH, and maybe 1 or 2 others. But again, it's a revolution in lending, because we know that up until now, if you wanted to loan against your assets, number 1, you can't loan cross-chain, which you can do here. Number 2, you can't loan without liquidation risk. Number 3, possibly you can't loan without real KYC risks. This actually takes all of this away. So they've built that, and I think they say shipped. And then they say, okay, maybe perpetuals next. Why? Constantly burning RUNE through slip fees, burning the excess collateral above liquidation price. Open interest is held as RUNE. So they're now thinking, hold on a second, we've shipped lending. Maybe we should ship perpetuals next. So very, very, very exciting. And the reason why it's exciting is because, again, this is completely decentralized. Now, remember something else here. Every time that this protocol grows, you have to lock up Bitcoin and ETH and whatever else the cross-chain assets are, so you can swap the one for the other. And whenever that TVL grows, you've got to lock up twice the amount in Bitcoin in RUNE. So if that's the case, what you may see is a lot of RUNE being bought in the market. Now, I looked at this. This is the TVL growth, total cross. Okay, this is the volume. So this is the volume. But if you look at the total TVL, the TVL is also starting to, it's very hard to see it here, But you can see the TVL is also starting to pick up in anticipation of the lending product and whatever else these guys are shipping. So RUNE is actually one that I've got a small short-term short, which I might actually even close because I just think it's a bet. I just think that this one can actually go up. And you don't want to be caught in short something that you actually really believe in. So I just did it because there was a sentiment trade yesterday and I wanted to catch the sentiment. So that's RUNE. The other one that is really, really, really going up, and we don't talk about a lot, is SHIBA. So we haven't spoken about SHIBA a lot. But the truth is, if you look at this chart, you can't discount the fact that it went from 0.005 to 100% up over here. And the reason for that is because they're launching Shibarium. Now, that was already published in our Good Morning Crypto newsletter. If you're not already subscribed, there's a link below. Subscribe to it. You can be the first to get, you can talk about everything I've spoken about. SEC delays, Stay Network launch, Shibarium, and I'm going to talk about PayPal, the cryptocurrency hub. In fact, I won't talk about it. You can go read about it in this thing. What is it? Shibarium is a layer 2 for SHIB. There is anticipation that it's going to launch this week. The reason why there is anticipation that it's going to launch this week is because they are the sponsors of ETH Toronto, which starts tomorrow. And people think that they will announce it at tomorrow. Also, they said soon, coming up, whatever that means. So, I mean, for those of you who don't remember, this token, Vitalik was actually given 50% of the token supply of SHIB. And he actually burnt it. So Vitalik Buterin burnt $6 billion worth of SHIB tokens in a transaction in this transaction. Crazy. Imagine someone gave you a $6 billion gift and you just burnt it. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, so that's probably happening tomorrow. I mean, I read this tweet, very cool. SHIB is dead. Meanwhile, SHIB is over 6 billion market cap, most popular crypto on social media, main sponsor of ETH event, largest market cap, building a metaverse, massive community, listed everywhere, top 12 crypto, launching an L2, working with huge brands, hiring industry professionals. This sounds like something that I'm going to have to short tomorrow when they make the announcement. So we'll keep our eyes open for that short. Let's see, what else is there? What else is there? There's not a lot happening, but as I say, we dig hard and we dig deep. Here's another one. You see, if you just know where to look here. Bang, up. Ape is up. In the week, Ape is up 12.49%. Why is it? Well, I see that some smart people are actually accumulating Ape. Machi, big brother, is accumulating Ape. He's accumulating. Andrew Kang, he says, have continued to accumulate Ape in anticipation for the most hated rally in a few months. Ape Fest will be a big catalyst. That's the Ape Fest that comes up. When is Ape Fest? It's coming up, apparently. So that's another one that people are starting to accumulate. I've got some Ape. Maybe I'll hold it. I don't know. Quickly, let's do a base update. So base, TVL keeps growing. Transactions keep growing. More money keeps moving into base. We're very excited about base. Transactions so far, $850,000 in revenue on base versus 342 on Optimism and 341 on Arbitrum. These guys are quite close. I see Coca-Cola launched their NFTs or an NFT drop on as Coca-Cola has launched a mint of 8 NFTs on the Base network. Big fans of Base, bring a lot of money into Coinbase. And as I said before, I think Coinbase is like one of the best bets in crypto. And I mean, I read this, which is interesting. So they accelerate the international expansion with the official launch of in Canada. And if you remember a while back, actually Binance pulled out of Canada. So it looks like, as I said, I think this is the time to swap. I swapped a lot of my BNB into Coinbase. I mean, I love CZ and what he's doing. I just think that he's got a lot of headwinds to face. And I think Brian Armstrong has less headwinds to face. A lot of people have faded the Bitcoin ETH move. Like people keep saying, like, there are some haters of this Bitcoin ETH thing, and they keep saying, oh, well, Bitcoin ETH hasn't done a lot. Benjamin Khan's one of them. I did see this, which I think we should show them. MicroStrategy invested $4.5 billion in Bitcoin, currently worth $4.49 billion. So it's actually a little bit down. If you would have just bought Ethereum instead of Bitcoin, it would have been worth 57% more, which is $7.16 billion. So don't fade ETH. And that's why I made a show about ETH last week. Don't fade ETH, because you just can't fade ETH. Sam Bankman-Fried, our friend, spent a couple of nights here. Here we go. This is Sam Bankman-Fried's new room over here. Here we go. I just want to show you this. Okay, so this is actually where Sam Bankman-Fried is living nowadays. He went from I'll show it to you in Google. He went from living in his parents' house, and because he's such a moron, okay, the guy's such a moron, he went and broke his bail terms and started tampering with witnesses. And I mean, I read this thing, I actually couldn't believe how. I mean, okay, we know how dumb he is now. I want to show you something. I just want to see if I've got it. Yeah. So there's a whole breakdown with the judge here, but this guy used a VPN when he's not even supposed to use the internet. He used a VPN and he's starting to tamper with witnesses. Now, you know what upsets me the most about Sam Bankman-Fried? It's not his hairstyle. It's the fact that he could have had it all if he just didn't do frauds. Like, the guy had an unbelievable exchange, making a shitload of cash. Just don't fraud. Don't spend money and move. How dumb are you? He could have been as big as CZ. Instead, what he chose to do was to focus on the short term and have a fraud. What an idiot. I mean, honestly, what an idiot. What else is there? Is there anything else that here we go. That's Sam Bankman-Fried walking out of his jails. Walking back to, I think he's going to jail. That's Sam. Yeah, anyway, we've seen that. Oh, the place they put him is called MDC. You know, I think you know who was there. What's her name? 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏. What's her name? 𝗕𝗬𝗕. What's it? Max Lane. What's the one? Jeremy Epstein's girlfriend. What's her name? 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏. That's her name. 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏. That's her name. I also saw this. Vitalik calling ETH a centralized piece of shit. No, Vitalik calling XRP a centralized piece of shit.
XRP, right? Like, you know, they're like still completely centralized, and but you know, at the same time, they are, you know, on CoinMarketCap, and you know.
I mean, I didn't say it. He said it. I choose to keep my words. Before we go, I just want to give some love to one or two of our sponsors. The first sponsor that is a new sponsor. It's called SmarDex. Okay, now this is a DEX that is built to solve the problem of impermanent loss. So if you've ever provided liquidity, you know that there's this horrible thing called impermanent loss. What this DEX does is it removes, mathematically, it actually reduces the impermanent loss, and you can actually even make this thing called impermanent gain. So it transforms impermanent loss into impermanent gain. Now, if you are an LP provider, if you are a liquidity provider, I suggest go and have a look at SmartDex. Also, if you lock up any liquidity in this protocol, every week they're going to give away an ETH to someone at Banter. So you can, I think there's a link below to go and check it out. Deposit your money using the link below. If you are a liquidity provider, and even if you deposit like $10, they're going to incentivize it with an ETH. So I think that's worth going to. And then I told you that I'm still doing the due diligence on this data ownership protocol. This is an incredible protocol. It's through our sponsor, Tomi, that I found out about this. Now, what this data ownership protocol allows you to do, it allows you to send tokens across networks, across the ETH network, and not have them appear on Etherscan. So it's the real like privacy transaction where you can't even see it on Etherscan, but it shows up in your wallet. So the tokens actually show up in your wallet, but it's nowhere on Etherscan. And they do this through zero knowledge rollups and a whole lot of other things. Now, this is one of the most novel things that I've actually seen in crypto, because remember, the whole thing about blockchain is the whole thing about transparency, and somehow they've found a way to do private transactions so that they don't show up on the Etherscan. So go and check it out. The website for that is dop.org. Go and check it out. All right, guys, I'm going to see you guys again in 15 minutes on Twitter Spaces, or I'll see you guys again tomorrow, and hopefully, when we see you again tomorrow, something has happened on the markets, because I'm dying of boredom. So I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.